episode of Box Mining. Today is a surprise live stream. I promise you guys there's going to be more live streams this week because we have so much action happening. We've got Bitcoin breaking past 17,000. It feels so strange to say this number. I'm still not used to it. It was just like, bam, yesterday night, boom. In the US markets, when those US markets are up, we just saw Bitcoin break past 17K with ease, almost hitting up to $18,000. There was a lot of excitement on Twitter too. So in terms of tweet activity, Bitcoin actually ranked #1. So around 12 hours ago, that was when everything happened. I should have done a live stream. I swear I should have done it, but I was just so tired. It was midnight for me, past midnight for me. Oh, near midnight for me. But yeah, Bitcoin was like trending #1 on Twitter. Maisie Williams, you know, Arya from Game of Thrones, she's talking about it. Elon Musk is talking about it. It was just absolutely nuts. And the amount of activity now is a lot more positivity towards crypto, which is what we want. And we've seen Bitcoin essentially breaking past walls after walls after walls. I'm just astounded of how fast Bitcoin is progressing. And a lot of that, I would say, is due to the markets, well, essentially the bears in the markets, the people who think that Bitcoin is going to go to zero. Well, they're a dying breed. You know, they've had the opportunity to sell for years on end, right? Even if they're, even if they're publicly saying that they're bullish, maybe if they wanted to just dump on this unsuspecting market, we have more and more activity here. Something that's also interesting is that a lot of big funds and a lot of big fund managers are also coming out this year to say, yeah, Bitcoin's great. And I think that's a sign that they've been accumulating over a long period of time, but they also don't have any willingness to sell just yet, which is why we're at this insane level. So anyways, we're going to talk all about the market, some expectations, some TA going on, and also we're going to do some news updates too, because a few big things happened on Ethereum. Say, for example, Uniswap, they stopped giving rewards. So $1.5 billion actually moved out of the Uniswap staking pools. I mean, that's a huge movement, right? $1.5 billion. I've also just finished a mini conference call update from Solana and Serum, which is very interesting, right? I'm like, there's a lot of dreams, and I think this is kind of like where I'm having this role where I'm trying to combine everything, right? So there's stuff that we know and the stuff that's in the future that a lot of people don't even dream about. And I've just been thinking a lot about this whole ecosystem overall and being very, very bullish on it. Just even in that talk, for example, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to reveal numbers and stuff, but a lot of people were, a lot of investors were getting updated on Serum, and yeah, a lot of interest and a lot of like potential. And I think that's kind of crazy, right? So anyways, we'll do all these updates. It'll be a very short episode for us today because I actually have to go. I actually have to leave in roughly from now, like probably half an hour. So this will be a very short episode, guys. It'll just be all the best parts of everything. So anyways, let's get started. And before we get started though, I do want to just fly the intro, guys. And also, by the way, just a big shout out to this. I've just recently updated one episode on Bitcoin out of the box. So if you guys are watching or listening to the podcast, the latest episode is all about trading. And this is entering a whole new level world. This is where like all the high IQ plays are in the trading world. So this is with Jack Tang, the guys at Chronos Research, and also they're starting Wootrade. I think something that's quite important here is that the models they use. I mean, you've heard about AI trading, right? Or like high frequency trading and all the works, and these guys are like the top tier of that. And it's kind of crazy what they're doing. It's like, before you just hear the word AI as a word, but what they're doing with AI is they're essentially classifying trades that are happening, and they're putting them into groups. Sorry, is this retail? Is this institutional? Is this market maker? And then they're making judgment calls and deciding where Bitcoin is going to move in the next few minutes based on these trading patterns, and using AI to identify and classify people into that. That's like super powerful. I mean, that's like next level plays, right? These are the highest IQ plays, and everything that's happening in this world. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. Obviously, they also talk about their platform Wootrade as well. And this is something that's like, yet again, invested in Wootrade, and one of the reasons why is because this is one of the big plays that's going to come out very soon. Well, in fact, it's actually out, but it's going to build up kind of over time. And something that it's doing is basically combining the liquidity of a lot of exchanges, pooling them together so then they can have a bigger access. So basically people can dump a lot of money or buy a lot of Bitcoin without significantly moving the market. So anyways, it's kind of crazy up there. So anyways, regardless, let's hop in straight into it. So okay, guys, check out the podcast. You just Google it, Bitcoin out of the box. It doesn't matter where you are at Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everything, it's on there and you can just listen to it. So anyways, let's take a look at the markets first. So first of all, Bitcoin passing 17K. And when it passed 70K yesterday, it was like bam. So the pattern that we've been seeing recently was that Bitcoin was in this channel for a while, right? So we had higher lows, right? We have higher lows in this pattern. We have higher highs for a pattern. We drew this channel, and then yesterday we broke out of it. That was like immediate. So this is a situation where TA actually worked. You can kind of see that it will try to attack this resistance line, all right? Attack, and bam, it shot past it. Okay, yeah, that trend's over right now. It's Bitcoin signifying, you know what, we're going to enter a new zone, which is what we're in right now. So yesterday it shot up and it's trying to see where not the bulls, we'll see where the bears are at. So right now the bears are roughly at around 17K 800. So almost around 18K level. It's just like the bears are just sitting there, selling off a little bit, and you can see that pattern yesterday. So like, over the past few hours, we've been seeing this kind of, we're trying to see where we're at, right? We're trying to, no one really wants to move at this current point. Yesterday we shot up to this level, and then we kind of, the bears try to push it down, and yeah, we're not saying anything to that. We're not taking any of that. We're not going to go back down. That's what all the bulls are saying. The bulls are saying we're up here. We made this fresh new ground, and you bears, you better decide when you want to move out, because that's just a matter of time. So yes, yet again, we see very, very strong potential. And yet again, this is a situation where Bitcoin hasn't been above this level for a long time. And something that's kind of very interesting on the note of Bitcoin too is that Bitcoin, we recently just have the halving, right? We're talking about this, and it just almost functions like clockwork, right? If you think about it, we're talking about the halving, we're talking about how Bitcoin moves up after halving, and not immediately moves up to halving, roughly around 6 months after, which is, well, pretty much right now. So it's like almost like clockwork right now that the halving's coming in, playing a big factor. Why was the halving? Why that delayed effect after halving too? Well, halving happens, and what's the biggest impact is that the amount of new Bitcoin being created drastically decreases, right? And this is something that it's programmed, it's known, but now we're feeling the effects of it. People who are looking to buy and source large amounts of Bitcoin, a lot of times they just target directly the miners, right? The miners, they get a huge amount of Bitcoin, but now because of the halving, that amount has halved. Well, that's kind of built in the name, and this is why we're seeing this kind of positive momentum. Now, if people want to buy, they have to buy out the market. They can't buy it from miners, and this is the kind of effect that's coming in. So if you look at all the stock and flow models and everything, well, the delayed effect of halving is pretty much happening now. On top of this, obviously, something that I'm eyeing very closely is interest into it. So like I said, interest in Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin trending #1. It didn't last too long. Okay, so I'll put the brakes on this a little bit. So it was #1 because Maisie Williams tweeted about it, and then Elon Musk tweeted about it, and then everyone else jumped on it on Twitter. And then of course it just kind of fell down. So it fell down, like, it just kind of dropped around there. And now right now, Bitcoin's not trending at this current moment, I guess, obviously, because since the US is asleep right now. But I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, after all, Bachelor is a little bit more interesting than Bitcoin, apparently. I have no idea what the general public is into these days. I mean, you can watch a Bachelorette or you can make money, right? Like, the choice for me is clear. Like, I think I'm just built differently. Right? You can watch Emily in Paris or The Bachelorette or any of these cool shows, or you can make money. Right? You can just sit there, click a few buttons, make money. I had a question just pop up on the live chat. They're saying, okay, if US re-enters lockdown again, and this is actually, this whole coronavirus thing is a big mess, right? But if US enters lockdown again, or if UK or Europe, they're re-entering lockdown, and would that impact Bitcoin? I would say absolutely, and it was going to go one direction, which is up. We kind of saw this year this huge amount of interest in stock trading and in Bitcoin. driven by lockdowns. Why? Well, because people are sitting back at home. They don't even know what they're doing, right? Like all of a sudden they're locked down. They can't go out. What do? Well, they can either watch The Bachelorette or they can make money, right? Like it's the choice is so obvious, and obviously some people are doing it, and that's why you have all this like kind of like Instagram or what's it, TikTok stock investing tips. It's because people want to make money. But people are looking for opportunities, and this is one of the most fertile grounds for it. If you think about crypto and blockchain, I think I'm forever thankful that I'm here because I know exactly what's happening and I can place huge bets, right? I'm not a pussy. I don't have to be like, oh, I don't understand this, I'm just gonna try with a little bit of money. I can be bam, like throw that on. I don't know. That's power, right? So I'm glad you guys are all watching this. And by the way, guys, smash up those likes. It's really important. Smashing likes really helps this channel. It's kind of a insanely simple thing to do to help support this channel. To smash up those likes, guys. So okay, so that's my rant there. I feel like lots of momentum. Are we at the top yet? Are we even started yet? I don't think so yet. I mean, yes, we're trending a few times on the searches, but searches for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin trends, not as much, right? So if you look at Google Trends for Bitcoin past 12 months, globally, right? Globally, it looks like Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana. So Africa is really strong here. And interest over time, we're still not spiking yet, right? So this is something that I'm very, very closely eyeing for how many people are interested in searching about Bitcoin. The spikes really happened in 2017, and that kind of coincided with that insane burst of price movement as well. So right now we're moving up. We're moving up-ish, all right? There's still some resistance, and yeah, that's not the way to analyze these graphs. Also, you can look at region wide as well. I think that the other thing to look is at US traffic and searches for Bitcoin. It's not the highest, the strongest yet, right? So yet again, we still see that pattern, which is interesting, right? Which is interesting. Like general public, they're not, and this is kind of like a little bit different from 2017, which is also quite interesting, where the amount of people trying to learn Bitcoin is still relatively small at this current point, but we're still moving up very aggressively. And it has to be due to the number of people who are selling, which is tiny. Like I've talked a lot to the guys at Genesis Block as well. So Genesis Block is a OTC, so they're over the counter. They have institutional customers. They deal with large sums of cryptocurrencies. You talk to them and they're like, you know, the volume in terms of sell side, right? People wanting to sell right now is astronomically low. Like virtually no one wants to sell. And I think that's the situation we're in. The big boys have accumulated over the past few years. It's very clear, right? When you see on public media that everyone is so bullish, when you see big PayPal already making these movements, they have already accumulated beforehand, right? That's obvious, right? You never go public and say, oh, I bought Bitcoin, unless you bought Bitcoin already. That's just common sense, right? Because once you do that and shout it out, obviously the price goes up, right? You don't want to buy more expensive than you could have bought low. So obviously the big players, they've obviously made accumulations over time, and now sell volume is just astronomically low. No one wants to sell, and you talk to Twitter and people are just gonna beat you up if you want to sell. Next up, we got Ethereum. Ethereum's making exactly the same movements. It's pretty much mirroring the Bitcoin chart. I mean, you can take a look at that. Now, the extra thing on top of Ethereum and on top of Ethereum price movements, I would say that's pretty interesting, is that Ethereum was not affected by Uniswap. So this is pretty big. Uniswap had a huge deposit, a huge war chest of Ethereum in the pools. Because they were rewarding Uni and that amount of rewards was huge, people were depositing both ETH-DAI, ETH-USDC, ETH-USDT, and ETH-WBTC into the Uniswap pools to get rewards over time. So they're farming. And this is something I've said this is usually done by bigger institutions, right? They really do care about that 10%. If you have billions of dollars sitting, not billions, millions, likely. So they have millions and they accumulate 2 billions, right? The sum of all the funds accumulate to billions. So if you have millions of dollars sitting in there doing nothing, well, why not just claim 10%, 15%, whatever on your ETH USD or whatever pools you have? So that was very popular. A few people were very afraid that ETH was going to dump after this reward ends because of just how much there was on there. So yes, after the rewards end, the funds will take it out because there's no rewards anymore, and $1.5 billion was withdrawn, both in terms of ETH and both in terms of USD. Something that's going to be very interesting in the times to come, of course, if you guys look at the Uniswap stats, I should have loaded this Uniswap a little bit beforehand, but they didn't immediately dump, right? So some people were fearful that people were going to immediately dump their ETH after they get it out of Uniswap, and that didn't happen, right? No one's that dumb. And I was saying, the bigger institutions, they're in it for a longer period of time, especially if they're just looking for that small percentage of rewards. So let me just take a look at another thing as well. I just want to look at the ETH pools and see how big they are, because this is going to be interesting, because a lot of people are saying that the liquidity of ETH, right? So let's just take a look at ETH USDT. Yep. Okay. So this makes sense, right? So you can see that before we had around $535 million worth of liquidity here, and now it's dropped. So people have moved both out of the Uniswap pool rewards farming area and also out of the ETH USDT pair as well in the liquidity pool. This is actually quite interesting as well, because once this happens, it makes ETH less liquid, which is actually good for ETH moving bigger prices. Like if ETH wants to move up, now there's less kind of liquidity there, so it's easier to move up, right? Food for thought, right? So this is kind of interesting moving forward. So a few things, I think that's like quite positive. I feel like people who want to stay, people who are committed, this pool hasn't dropped to zero, but at the same time, like with reduced kind of liquidity here, it means that this ETH can do something, and that something is quite important too, because that ETH should move to here, which is the launch pad for Ethereum 2.0. So right now, as of this point, this bar, okay, so we're always talking about Ethereum 2.0, this update to Ethereum, and for Ethereum 2.0 to update in its current state, right? I'll have to say this. So developers have said that they want this bar to fill up a week before December the 1st, right? So that will be the 24th. So we literally have a week now. So we're at the 18th right now. So we have 1 week to fill this bar. So ETH needs to go in here, right? So ETH needs to fill up this bar before Ethereum 2.0 can launch. Obviously, if it doesn't fill up, developers can kind of like reprogram everything, blah, 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 and change it. But this is like their goal, right? So two things. A few people were very skeptical that this was going to get filled, but it is getting filled. Like, it's moving. And what I'll predict is that towards the end, it's going to drastically increase in speed in filling this up. Reason being is because people always want to wait till the last minute, especially if that Ethereum could be doing something like maybe earning and yield farming. Well, that could be it. And now that the Uniswap pool is over, I can anticipate more movement to ETH 2.0 for everything to start. And if you think about it, this is not a small amount of ETH2, right? You need to have 524,000 ETH, right? So at current prices, let me just do that very quickly. I have no idea why I lost my mouse, but there we go. Boom, times 480. That's a considerable number. That's what is it? There we go. That's $251 million worth of ETH that needs to go into that contract. And note too that once it goes in the contract, it's not going to come back out. It's going to be locked in there for like 2 years until things become working. So just be very careful with that too. I'm not going to drastically promote everyone to do this. I think it's not the wisest thing to do right now. Like, we're even looking at the first, when Ethereum 2.0 launches and when this bar fills up, right? Any Ethereum deposited on this will become available for validating the network and earn passive income. But the drawback is that at its current state in Ethereum 2.0, at the start of the launch, I don't even think there's going to be with transactions. You can't even transact it. It's just right now it's just generating random numbers. That's what it's good for. It's there to validate. So Ethereum 2.0 will start off with phase 0. If you want to learn a little bit more about what's happening in each of the phases, right? So phase 0 is when it starts, and phase 1 is when it starts being useful, has sharding, and it's just starting out. And phase 2 is really when the smart contract stuff comes out. So yeah, check up video. I'll put up there in the future, but I have a whole list on Ethereum 2.0. Definitely take a look at it. So anyway, so this is what's happening on ETH. I definitely see. So first of all, ETH didn't dump, which is great, and now it has even more potential to move up because the Uniswap pools have lower liquidity in them now. So I think that's actually quite positive overall. So I know this is a really long market update, but if you can kind of see right now, in the 1 hour time period, it's also red. And a lot of that reason is because Asia is less bullish than in North America. So when North America is about to sleep, usually that's when Asia wakes up, picks up, and they're a lot more bearish. And this is not something we've been dealing with for a long time, right? You saw me talk about this, and that was the case. But what we've been seeing recently in Asia markets is that with the Asians right now, the FUD is disappearing, right? Before we had various bits of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, especially considering the two big exchanges in China, so OKX, Huobi. Now we don't have any new updates from them. I think they're going to progress as planned. But we also have some more bullish news. So in Asia, the bear seems to also be exhausted too. I mean, the two biggest exchanges, there's a lot of uncertainty about that. We know that already. It's already accounted for. Now with Singapore Bank, DBS, potentially offering crypto services, and a new set of regulations coming in Hong Kong, which could be good and bad. I think Asia is a lot more positive now. So that's why, even though we see a little bit of a dip in Asia, I don't expect this dip to last very long. So typically speaking, what I usually see is the lowest it can go is when America's fully asleep, roughly, in 2 or 3 hours, and then we kind of slowly move up. So that's kind of what I'm eyeing right now in the market. Now, in terms of my personal stuff, so not financial advice, in terms of what I'm personally doing. So I've pretty much been done accumulating Bitcoin. I've been accumulating a lot of that over time. So I'm pretty much celebrating every day right now at this current point, which is great. I haven't started selling yet. So I think this is a situation where I was talking to you guys, when markets move up, I typically start dollar cost averaging out of the market, take a little bit of profit, right? From my angle, from my perspective, I've entered the market, very low, right? 4,500 for a Bitcoin. I've entered the market at 6,000, entered the market at 8,000, entered the market at 10,000, even entered the market at 14,000. So at some point, I've got to take profits, but I'm not doing it yet, right? So what I'll do usually is I'll start dollar cost averaging, sell when it's very positive, and usually that's a very slow rate as well. So I think that's kind of the honest update of what I'm doing. I still see a lot of optimism, especially for the next few days as well. Once kind of all the politics and stuff, or this whole coronavirus and all this uncertainty, once it's settled a little bit, I think that's when stuff gets very, very strong. So yeah, that's my current take on it. I'm actually very positive. I'm also looking at a lot of different coins. I haven't actually entered the altcoin market yet. I have made a list of coins that I will be looking at. Like I've been actively looking at for a while. I haven't entered the market in a big way. I bought a few coins here and there, just get some exposure. But what I'm looking for next is once the Bitcoin rally stops, obviously, right? Once Bitcoin is done and stopped, everyone's gonna start wanting to move over to the altcoins, and this is when the alts shine, right? So it's almost like clockwork. All of this is like the clockwork, right? Bitcoin happening and then Bitcoin moving up after 6 months. It's like clockwork. Now after Bitcoin rally finishes, like this is what happened with the DeFi wave last time. It's going to move up too. I've been looking at a lot of DeFi projects recently as well. I feel like the two things that really have a lot of hype right now are DeFi and NFTs. Both of them have a lot of hype. I do feel like DeFi has more legs though. So just after the call just now with the Ethereum and the Solana guys, I think one of the interesting aspects of it is that, yes, a lot of stuff can be done on the blockchain. And we've heard this crap before, right? We can do like Uber on the blockchain. We can do Facebook on the blockchain. We just throw a powerful app, and then like everyone's like, okay, we're doing blockchain. And initially, before, there's not much reason to go on the blockchain, right? This is the kind of the not so good part, right? Like, why do you want Uber on a blockchain, right? But I think now with decentralized finance, we have more and more reasons for it because that ecosystem is very strong. So if you think about it, like I made a tweet about this just a while ago, and it's like, right now we've already have, right, we got exchanges on the blockchain. We got Uniswap, we just talked about that. We got borrowing lending platforms, so be it your Compound, your Ava, your Cream. You've also got crowdsourced liquidity. I think this is one of the most powerful aspects and biggest drivers of decentralized finance. I mean, liquidity pools, man, that was where it was at, right? You get everyone to be able to contribute to that market making process, so people can easily enter and exit from a system. And these are things you can easily tap into if you want to build anything. So if you want to build anything in the world and you want to make a token for that, well, yeah, just do it on blockchain, and boom, you got exchanges on you got borrowing, lending, you got all these services. Why build elsewhere, right? Why build on traditional markets? Right? Did you really want to talk with the New York Stock Exchange, or do you really want to go through that process? Do you want to talk with the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and have the Chinese government look over your shoulder every single time to be able to access an exchange? This stuff is like inbuilt into the crypto ecosystem, and as that ecosystem grows larger, just more and more incentives for projects to come here and have leverage to that. Okay, so initially, speaking about this whole Uber thing, I think like I've heard this pitch like a million times. Oh yeah, we can build Uber on a blockchain, but like why? Well, now maybe we can kind of justify why. What if you can leverage your existing Uber business or your car loaning system and then take it on the blockchain and take investors, tokenize that, or create a borrowing lending system for that too? I mean, it's still pushing it a little bit, all right? It doesn't give enough incentives yet, but I can slowly see the applications that can yield and leverage this power come into blockchain. So I don't think we're at the Uber stage yet. Realistically, I don't think so, but we can see more and more of that ecosystem being built out. If anyone wants to tokenize something, great. And this is something that you can see with NFTs as well. Because before NFTs, sure, just issuing a card, all right, that's great, right? Or maybe putting an asset in a game. But now with the system here, you can now access more exchanges like liquidity. You can tokenize and fractionalize that NFT and split that into a million portions. Like, what if this NFT represents a property? Now you can tokenize that, fractionalize that, sell it off to different people, and now anyone with like literally like 25 cents or something like that, like just pick that off your pocket. Oh, now I can invest in property, right? Like there's a lot of power here. There's a lot of power here, and I think this is where we're going to go. And I'm super happy to be a part of all this. I think that's great. So yeah, I think this is like insane. I think once this ecosystem is being built out, I think there's so many reasons to be on blockchain, but obviously the downside obviously to that is there's so many scammers. I've talked to a lot of scammers too. Like, just like you're going on calls and you're like, this guy's an idiot. So I think this is the most important. This is like the .com boom essentially, right? So much innovation. .com is gonna, like, at that time, I'm pretty sure everyone knew that .com was gonna take off. But at the same time, there was just chaos. And I think this is what's happening right now with the blockchain boom as well. There's so many applications, but you need to find the right people, the right minds. And yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Like, that's why I'm going on these calls. I'm listening, I'm figuring out what's happening. You want the high IQ plays. You want to find the next kind of the big plays. And on that as well, showing two things. Obviously, I talk a lot to Sam. I think that's someone who's like, he's going to change DeFi for sure. I also talked to Wootrade guy, so I would definitely encourage you to check out either the podcast, right? I told you about the podcast. Either watch this interview on a podcast, Jack Tang with Wootrade guys, or watch the video on that. So Woo, I had the worst title for this video, but all right, this is a video you need to watch. Reason why is because these guys are making such big plays in the trading scene. It's insane. And we talk about some things that we very rarely talk about in this channel, which is with like toxic flows and exchanges. What's a toxic flow, right? What are toxic traders, right? All of that. And I throw them pretty hard on this episode. So I'll definitely encourage you guys to check it out to understand the trading world and where that's coming. I think like it's a lot of power. It's a lot of power. And what they're doing, like what they've done so far was like they kind of link the liquidity of a lot of exchanges, like the Who exchanges, combine all the liquidity of these exchanges together. This is going to change the exchange ecosystem forever. And of course, they're doing something that's absolutely insane, which is free trades as well. So I don't know. It's like, I'm like, these guys are like next level high IQ plays, right? So just check that out. Iron Mike on a bike says, who's Sam? Sam is either the hero or the villain of crypto right now. Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF. He runs FTX exchange. So this guy with crazy hair. I don't know. Wait, why am I not following him? Am I not following him? Oh wait, that's fake. That's fake. This is a fake Sam. Haha. Is it a fake Sam? This is the real Sam. Anyways, but Sam, the guy with crazy hair, he runs FTX, Alameda, which is a fund. So he has a lot of hats, right? So he invests heavily into crypto with Alameda. Then he has FTX, which is one of the biggest derivatives exchanges, and pretty much it's going to outperform everything. It's pretty much given at this point that FTX is going to just destroy everything at this point. And then he also runs an exchange called Serum on a decentralized exchange. So it's kind of crazy. It's a guy that people love and either love or hate. So like when markets are rising and people think that he's pumping the markets, then everyone loves him. And then when markets dropped, the DeFi market dropped, everyone pinned down on him too, and he became the biggest villain too. But honestly, he's like one of the smartest people out there. Regardless of what you think about him, I think it's like he's gonna make some super high IQ plays. It's just like you gotta keep an eye on these people. So on that note as well, if you guys are interested in trading on FTX, which is pretty much my de facto exchange now. So this is the exchange that doesn't have predatory systems. I know a lot of exchanges right now, especially exchanges that offer leverage, they're very predatory, and I really wanted to avoid that on this channel. But if you guys want to trade on FTX, basically they offer the most things to trade on there. Like for the longest time, I was I was looking at like Trump go, Trump stay, right? So like I'm looking at these numbers to say, okay, look, Trump go would be redeemable for $1 if Trump is not president by February the 1st. So like right now it's at 0.84, which means the 84% chance that he's going to go, right? And if you disagree with this number, then you can either buy it or short it, right? Like this is the power of these trading platforms. But anyways, yeah, so this is my public account, and I have my own trading account obviously on FTX. But I'll do some guides. I mean, I didn't do a lot of these guides on these exchanges because I felt they're extremely powerful, way too powerful for most people to handle, especially because you can use account leverage to do stuff. But I will talk about them because I feel like as a user, it's just power, right? Yeah, so Angela just posted the Box Money FTX code. Thank you so much for that. So anyways, FTX in the US, no, absolutely no. And I think that's one thing that they said very early on. They do not have any US customers, or they don't accept US customers. So yeah, don't. If you're in the US, sorry. Iron Mike on a bike. Does FTX sell new low cap cryptos? No. So I think a few things with FTX. So what they do is they offer leverage or futures positions on a few medium caps. So I think that's kind of interesting, where you have Uni and you have like there was one which is Tomo. The one I used extensively was with Tomo. Reason why was because there was a farm opportunity for Tomo, but at the same time, because I was farming and holding Tomo, I needed to take a short position on the other side so I can reduce my risk, right? So it's all these high IQ plays I can only do on FTX. Like no one else offers that market but FTX. So anyways. Long story cut short, that's how it goes. So that's how it's going. And anyways, there's a lot of stories, a lot of stuff interesting that's coming here. And recently they added trading for stocks. So if you're global, if you're non-US, you can start trading stocks, and they have this huge giveaway thing, which, you know, yet again, I'm not a big giveaway person, but yeah, you can now trade US stocks on it, which is kind of crazy, but why not? You can start buying Tesla. You buy your Tesla futures on here and stuff. It's kind of crazy, but anyways, so yeah, use that code if you are non-US and interested in this. All right, I think that's pretty much it for what I want to talk about. Let me see, there's a few shout outs I have to say. Let's see. So one was with Ankr. So Ankr, guys, I'm looking very aggressively at ETH 2.0 right now. So Ankr and Stkr, they're coming out with a service to start staking, allowing the stake for ETH 2.0 in a decentralized fashion. And recently they moved 1,273 ETH. So this is already staked on Stkr. So yeah, I'm actually doing a lot of work on ETH 2.0. I'm researching it. I've actually started my ETH1 node, and you use that ETH1 node to as a source of data for your ETH2 node. Anyway, so that's already underway. That's already started. It is a pain to do it manually, which is why I'm looking at these services. So Stkr is one of them there. And also, of course, it's part of Ankr. It's a free service divided by Ankr. I'm good friends with those guys. So there you go. So Great gifts. Sounds like FTX is going to get wrecked soon if they're offering US stocks. That's actually kind of interesting. That was the first question I asked Sam. I'm like, so I was at a dinner last Friday, right? And Sam was there, and I sat next to him. I was like, Sam, look, win jail, right? Like not to be offensive, right? Win jail. But he has to answer the question well. If like there's certain ways to do and certain ways to do this properly, and they've done it properly. So I'm like, whoa, okay, all right. First of all, he didn't take it offensively. Like I literally asked him, like, you're doing US stocks, like this is super dangerous, and he's like, no, it's not dangerous if you know what you're doing, and you know he knows what he's doing. So GG. Yeah, that was like super blunt, but you know that guy's smart. That guy's like super smart, man. That guy is crazy smart. Yeah, I drilled him really hard on a few things. I'm not sure if I can reveal all of it, but it's kind of crazy. But massive respect. Like I really respect people where you can just throw any question at them out of the blue, even if there's like hyper aggressive douchebaggy questions, which is something that I'm starting to do now. And if I can throw them at them and they can answer them correctly, like massive kudos, like super refreshing. Like you hit them hard on some things. Like I literally, like during the interview for the episode with Jack Tang as well, he was one of those people who I can aggressively target as well. I'm like, dude, you're running like a fund which is literally generating toxic flow, right? Like, you know, you're shoving that like onto your exchange. Won't people get like screwed over? And like all these direct questions about you know, conflicts of interest or stuff that they might not be doing perfectly, and they managed to answer these questions. I left them uncut in the video. It's great. Check it out. This is the power of being on like blockchain, being not just on blockchain, but doing videos on blockchain. I can just throw questions out of the wild, and it's great to see how they respond. So, you know, that's the kind of fun bit. So yeah, just check out that interview. Definitely worth your while. It's worth your while, especially if you're on the go. I would definitely recommend you just like, you know, listen to it on podcasts, and that's the way to do it. I think that's pretty much wrapping up this episode. I think we're like, let me just check what else is there on. I was like reading Reddit this morning. So yeah, I got this tip from Reddit. There was a good comment here, which is very highly voted, which is smart. I think if we're really in the eve of a bull run, then there'll be a lot of new people. Be sure to be kind to them and help them learn. Crypto is hard, caps. Yeah, so this is, I think, absolutely true. If you actually look at the amount of toxicity in crypto, I mean, you know, people are very elitist. There's a lot of tribalism going on in the space, a lot of misinformation, and I think this is the opportunity for us to be a lot more generous. And that's something that I've been trying to do a lot more on this channel, is to not be so tribal. I know I get very tribal sometimes, all right, like especially with regards to Bitcoin Cash or Ripple, or you know, the obvious ones I don't like, or like yeah, but I'm trying to be less tribal. All right, just so if you guys can't catch me out on that, like being super tribal, you know, yeah, like just call me out on it. Call me out of it. TXN says stop shilling Sam. He's shady character and you know it. Everyone's a shady character, man. Everyone's a shady character. But yeah, like mind you, he's gonna be crazy. He's like the next Jeff Bezos, like of the space, right? We got crypto NGN says, what altcoin are you looking at? So a lot, man, a lot. So I'm looking at the DeFi ones specifically. So I'm looking for ones that are on sale. So unfortunately, I did miss out on Wi-Fi. So YFI, being the flagship of DeFi, it dropped to 8K. Now it kind of doubled up. It's in a crazy position. It's at 23K right now. So I looked at this and I was like, can I make a good re-entry? I kind of missed out this entry position here. So I'll be honest about that. Like that time I was primarily in Bitcoin, it worked out, but obviously this was a good time to enter right now. I'm still looking at a few other DeFi ones. I haven't really locked down, to be honest. I feel like I don't want to join something that's already massively pumped, right? So the upside is lost. I feel like Wi-Fi probably can still do something, but I'm like, decisions. I'll update you guys on my thought process later. I'm like, it's hard because with hindsight, obviously 8K would be no brainer, but now at 23K, is this a good position to enter or not? That's a much harder question to answer. So I'm looking at a few chain links, one of them as well. I think the ones that Dot, I already have a lot of Binance coin exposure. Tron, who knows? Maybe Tezos is moving up a little bit. I don't know. I'll have to see. I recently taken up, like I told you guys, I recently took up a position in CyberFi. But that was at a lower rate. So that did very well. But yeah, Trust Swap is actually not bad. Swap. Let me see how high Swap has moved. So yeah, Trust Swap has been accumulating a bit. I'm declaring my conflict of interest here. I'm an advisor for Trust Swap, but they dumped and now they're moving up. And also they have the coin offering that's coming up soon. So that's on this Friday for pushing for coin. So that was why it was under my radar. I also want to see what's happening. We also have, Angela Wine's talking about the top coins video. That's great. A lot of this the same, but I'm also looking for some re-entry positions on there too. We got Arif Akhtar says, please show Flappy Coin have a wallet from 10 with 10 million from 2014. Is that coinciding with Flappy Bird? I just want to know. Has it been that long already? Flappy Bird? Is Flappy Bird 2014? Flappy Bird. Oh, what year was it? Yeah, that makes sense, right? 2013, 2014. So Flappy Coin is probably from that era. Interesting. Michael Scalon says CyberFi down 35%. Cyber CFI. Okay, yeah, it's down. I got it at around $2 ish. Like I picked some up during the dip, and I was also in the initial rounds too. So full disclosure there too. So yeah, be careful with that too. I think the next unlock is going to come in a few days too. So if you guys are like a little bit too careful about it, you guys need to know what's happening. All right, cool. That's pretty much it. So what's your target price? Trability says, what's your ETH price target for 2020, 2021? Man, I don't usually give out price targets. I feel like price targets are I find very hard because, like, if you take it the well-known price targets, right? Let's say John McAfee said $1 million for the price of Bitcoin by the end of 2020. And whilst a lot of people really enjoyed and showed him hard for that, having a price target is also, I feel like it's just telling people, oh, you should exit at this time, or you should buy because it's going up to this time. I feel like people who want to be in this space, or need to be in this space, or should be in this space, should understand the value of it. I feel like ETH is definitely has a lot of potential, right? I feel like target wise is hard. Like I would say, I'll be happy if ETH hits like 800 by the end of 2021. Very likely it's gonna go and yo-yo, and you know that's how the world works. But I'm much more like, okay, look, I'll be happy if people just understand this. I mean, that's kind of the way here. I mean, it's so easy for people like to make a video and say, oh, ETH target 10K. And then, you know, news about, oh my God, this guy is so bullish, 10K. But I find that's like the sort of mainstream kind of stuff I'm trying to fight here, which is more like, okay, look, what is the value of this, right? Yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's why I don't really give price targets very often. I feel like I think people like it. I think like from a brand perspective, I should, right? I feel like I should be giving these like crazy targets and making the news, but at the same time, I feel like being realistic is it's cool. It's cool for now. 800 ETH, you heard it here, folks. I'm very I always like, I'm a guy who likes to like other times I like to under promise and over deliver. I think that's key, and I think a lot of times you just put these dreams up and it's not necessary, right? Like 800, I'm gonna be happy. I'm sure it's gonna go way above that. I'm sure it's like gonna 2x that, but you know, 800, I'll be happy. End of this year. All right, cool. Hypnosis, we're going to 10K tonight. That's what I'm looking for. Maybe tonight live stream. So make sure you click that that button, guys. What's the button down there? Man, I'm such a bad YouTuber. Notifications button. Yeah, that really helps. Like my YouTube game has been off point. I've been doing a lot more investments recently where I'm just kind of figuring out what's happening. I've been chatting to a lot of people. We're starting Genesis Block Ventures, GBV. So this is what the boys at Genesis Block. We're starting our own fund, capital fund, and getting bank accounts and legal structure sorted out for that. Lot going on. Just taking on a lot more permanent and good positions in the space. I think that's kind of core. So I know YouTube's been a little bit back, but I really want to make sure you guys are updated. That's the reason for these streams. And I'll give you guys some updates as well. If you guys like shorter updates, I know that's something that I'm very well known for. Check out box mining clips. So we have already have a community team for that. This channel started last week, but it's one of the best ways to get updated on what's happening. It just takes this live stream and takes clips from it, which is very focused, so you can get basically a 2-minute to 5-minute summary of what's happening, maybe like 7 minutes if it's long, but the whole idea is it's shorter than this video. This video is for our amazing community, but if you want something short, like a shot of crypto, box mining clips is the place to go. Anyways, that is it. Pretty much we got one guy who is like, box mining, are you still using Femex? Yes, so it's for free trades, but I have been using it a little bit less recently. I think it's just like I have an account there, I trade on there, and I think the way I use Femex is with these crazy bets, because the amount of money I have on Femex is not crazy amounts. I'm not just storing a war chest there. I'm just making some crazy bets sometimes on Femex. That's my guilty confession. So anyways, there. So we got breaks 18K. Are we broken there yet? Are we? Let me just refresh this for a second. Have we broken there? We're almost there, guys. Holy crap. I'm like, we're watching this live, guys. Holy shit. It's there. We've broken it. So holy crap, guys. This is on, like, I'm sure, I mean, like, look, we're $15 off, right? So I'm sure on some exchanges we've already broken 18K again. And this is crazy, guys. Asia is up right now. Like, Asia is up at this current point, and we're still breaking through these walls. This is insane. This is nuts. So let's see how well we can keep this up. We need a new title for sure. We need a new title for this. Let me actually let me change the title. Breaks 18K. Holy crap, guys! I didn't expect this. To be honest, I think, like, you know, like I said, Asian markets generally speaking are a lot more docile, a lot more bearish. But this is actually really bullish news for us. So 18K on Coinbase. Absolutely. Holy crap, guys. My face pumping it. Don't stop till 20K. Holy shit, I need to go, guys. Like, for reals. I have some stuff to do today. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching today. That's like the best note to end it. End today's stream. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm also going to go shopping for the rest of the day. So I'm very likely going to buy a bunch of crap that I don't need, including maybe that new MacBook. I've been looking a lot at Apple recently. Finally, the new the benchmarks, you know, I'm a total geek on this. The benchmarks for the new Apple book is out, and I think like this year is great for tech. So much competition in the space. I mean, love it or hate it, Apple's gonna drive so much competition in the mobile laptop scene. Is crazy, right? Because they're using their own M1 chips, which is based on Apple Silicon, which is based on the stuff that they've been putting in iPhones for a long time, but running full-fledged Mac OS. And the stats on that are crazy, right? If you look at video rendering on those M1 chips, like yesterday I was like watching a bunch of videos, like Marquise Brownie and Dave Lee and all those guys. Holy crap, like the Final Cut performance on that is amazing. And for me as a content creator, I'm like, holy shit, that's all I need, right? I just need to take a mobile stage, because this is like so this computer, I wanted it to be my mobile one, right? So this is the 15-inch MacBook Pro, but you take it out and the fans just go like, you know, because this has i9 on it, right? That's one of the top tier Intel processors, but also the top tier battery drainer, right? It just burns through that battery like nobody's business. It makes everyone like, ugh, yuck, you know, like why is box mining computer like fucking like, why is it taking off like a rocket, you know? It's Bitcoin over 10K yet? But you know, anyways, I'm pretty excited for being able to take a mobile, no fan computer out to edit videos and hopefully stream on it. But yeah, I'm getting M1 MacBook FOMO like crazy. But there is a caveat, right? I looked this up. Chrome doesn't work very well on the M1 laptops. In fact, doesn't work well. So if you look at Sarah Dietschy's video, I get all the secondhand information because I haven't tried it firsthand yet. I just need to go to the Apple Store today, check it out. But it takes, she said it's like 3 seconds to load Chrome and 3 seconds to load a plugin. And I use MetaMask like crazy, right? So I think that's what's stopping me from buying that MacBook immediately. It's like, if I can't use MetaMask and it's very slow, especially because Chrome is a memory hog and the new MacBook has very low memory and it's not native. And if I don't get that support there, I'm gonna pass on it. That's the thing. I think MetaMask is holding me back, so we'll have to see. Anyways, that's it, guys. Let's see where Bitcoin's at. I'm super excited to find about this too. Yep, we're way past 18K, or we're way past that. We've flown way past that already. Let's see when. Oops, I don't want to upgrade yet. I want to go 1 minute. Thank you very much, or maybe 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Yeah. Why is it so broken right now? Give me a sec. Yeah, we're just moving up, guys. Let me just refresh this. Reload. Boom. That's right. That's much better. Let's put it to 1 hour. Yep. That's great. Good, guys. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Pump it. Guys, it's a great time. That's going to be strong. So, guys, thank you guys so much for... We are skipping 18K. I think that's it, man. I think once we're past this, once we break past this, we're gonna test. Because now we're pretty much, right? If you look at it, the resistance was here, right? We're talking about that resistance, which was here. We're breaking past that right now. Lots of updates. So I have to go though, for reals. But I'll definitely make a stream sometime soon. Make sure you click that button down there. That's called notification bell. Subscribe, notified. Smash up those likes, do the whole YouTube thing. That's great. I'll see you guys very soon. Cheers. I'd like to take the time now to tell you a little bit about everything that's happening in the box mining ecosystem. First and foremost, if you guys like listening to all that's happening in crypto on the go, then I would highly recommend you checking out the Box Mining Bitcoin Out of the Box podcast. And the reason why it's called Bitcoin Out of the Box is because we have long interview segments very much exploring the detail of the newest and latest of what's going on in this whole cryptocurrency space. Whole idea of it is to bridge that gap between knowledge privileged institutional investors and the rest of us here in this space. Now, with the podcast, it's on everything. So it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Spotify. Just search it anywhere, Bitcoin out of the box. So just add that onto a playlist and just follow the new episodes when it's released. Next up, we also have the box mining newsletter. So this happens roughly bi-weekly. We give you an update of the latest that's going on in a very summarized, condensed format. So this is perfect for anyone that wants an overview of the market. Say, for example, what's happening with OKX, the biggest event, or maybe the little things like what's happening with different coins and overall the trend. So what I use the newsletter for personally myself is to understand what kind of phase we're in crypto, to kind of get in tune. So if you don't read crypto every day, the newsletter is perfect for you. Last but not least, in the link down below, if you're a Telegram user, we have the box mining announcements channel. So this is to announce to you basically what's the latest videos coming up, but also we have a daily update, a community-driven daily update to provide you an idea of the latest updates on the day. And a lot of people have been using that to get informed of the crazy amounts of trends that we see. And I have to give a big thank you for Claudio, our community member, for doing this. It's just been phenomenal. Definitely want to give you a shout out there, Claudio, as well for that. And taking us to the end of the live stream, so make sure, number one, you click like and subscribe on this video because it really does help this channel. And then, of course, check out the podcast. It's one of the best ways to know a little bit more, to extend that knowledge, especially in your spare time. And then, of course, check out the newsletter. If you're, if you want those updates and summaries and trends, newsletter is the place for you. And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you have a good one. See you in the next video.